5 of Ellen Reads Her Blog. I'm so excited to have you here, whether you are watching live, watching the replay, or maybe even catching the episode on a podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. If you haven't met me before, my name is Ellen Bathgate. I'm the founder of Rent Roll Starter, and I love to help you grow your rent roll using cheap and often free marketing strategies, because that's something I needed when I was growing my rent roll. So that if that's your thing, then you have come to the right place. Now, usually on these episodes, I jump into my blog and I like to share a blog with you and read through it and add some extra commentary to it. And it's usually a growth strategy. However, we're switching gears a little bit today. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. So if you are watching this or listening to this episode in real time, you might be one of the people who are currently in lockdown or under some restrictions at the moment. So it's quite possible that you're experiencing some fatigue, some burnout, or some potential burnout symptoms. So today's blog that I'm sharing with you is all about how to beat burnout in property management. It's something that I've experienced myself, and so I just wanted to share some strategies with you that have worked for me, and hopefully they'll work for you as well, or at least some of them might work for you as well. So let's start by opening up my blog so that you can see it on your screen if you're watching along with me, and if you're not, that's okay too. All right, so let's start by reading a little bit, and then I'll probably pause partway through the reading of this episode just so that I can add some extra commentary along the way. All right, let's get going. The thing I'm most embarrassed about in my property management career is the fact that I've burnt out twice. Now, I know that I shouldn't be embarrassed about it, but I am sometimes. I think that because I'm in a training role now, after selling my rent roll, I expect people to look at me as the perfect example of how to start and grow a rent roll and do it all perfectly. I know, I'm just going to pause from reading this for a moment. I know that it's very easy for me to look at someone who's in a training capacity and expect that they're going to have all the answers and everything was going to be perfect all along the way. So I think sometimes I feel insecure that I did not do everything in growing my rent roll perfectly at all. So let's keep reading the article. It's not how it went down. I did not do it all perfectly. I've experienced burnout in a big way on 2 different occasions. The first time was when I was working in a big agency, running a team of about 7 people. And when I burned out then, I left the industry altogether. At that stage, I actually took a little break, bought a retail business at that stage. The second time I burnt out was in my own rent roll, when I was it. That's the one I'm probably most embarrassed about, to be honest. I felt like since it was my rent roll and I was the boss, I shouldn't have burnt out. I should have controlled my business in a way that was manageable. I should have managed my workload in a way that was sustainable. But about 2.5 years in, I hit a wall. I could hardly drag myself out of bed each day. I was relying on coffee to keep me going in the afternoon. Hardly ever saw my family. I was a cranky, stressed out wife, and I had zero social life. And then I ended up being at the doctor, being diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. My doctor told me that if I didn't reduce my stress, cut out caffeine, things were going to get worse, much worse. So after sitting in my doctor's office in tears, I came home to my husband and told him that I had finally accepted that things had to change. I'm just going to pause from reading this for you at the moment, just because I want to share that when I was actually sitting in the doctor's office and she was saying to me, you've got adrenal fatigue, and the treatment for adrenal fatigue is to reduce your caffeine, at that stage, eliminate caffeine and reduce your stress levels, I thought to myself, you have got to be kidding me. I am a property manager growing a rent roll. How on earth am I supposed to reduce my stress? Like, to me, that seemed absolutely impossible. And I I remember saying to my doctor, no, you don't understand. I work in property management. Stress reduction isn't an option. She was pretty firm with me, though, that this was something that had to change. Let me keep reading. This was a pivotal moment for me in my business and in my life. And on the off chance that you have experienced the same thing, if you've ever gone through burnout, or you think you might be getting close, I want to share 5 things that I did to modify my business to overcome my burnout, because I did overcome it. I did recover. However, I had to be really proactive about it. So I want to share 5 things I did. And you are welcome to try all 5 things if you want, or you can just try one of them. Or you might get inspiration from some of them that you could create some of your own habits here. So the first thing I did was I turned off all notifications. So I realized that one of the things that really stressed me out was all the notifications I was getting on my phone, all the beeps and the red pop-ups appearing on my phone just stressed me out so much. So I turned them off. So even now, to this day, I only get notifications when my phone is ringing. So I get notifications on my phone are phone calls. So if you call me, my phone will ring. SMS, so if you send a regular text message, I'll hear a beep. If you send like a Facebook Messenger message, I don't know about that. Actually, right at the moment, I don't have Messenger on my phone at all. So if you send me a Facebook Messenger message, I will only see it when I log on to Facebook on my desktop. And then calendar events. So for me, I'm happy for my Google Calendar to remind me about appointments, just so that I know where I'm supposed to be. But I turned off all other notifications from all other apps on my phone. No Facebook, no Instagram, not even Facebook Messenger on my notifications. I just mentioned that before. And let me tell you, I could feel my stress levels reduce once I did this. And I still, to this day, have those notifications turned off. So I want to pause as I'm reading through this blog article, because I want to invite you to have a think about what impact notifications are having on you. Do you have notifications turned on? Actually, if you are watching this on video, leave a comment in the comment section and let me know. Do you have notifications turned on for Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Messenger or all of those things? And how do you find it impacts your stress levels? I would love to know from you. You might be fine with it, but for me, it induced an awful lot of stress, and removing them made a world of difference. So let me tell you about the second thing I did. I removed emails from my phone at the end of the day. Now, I actually like being able to access emails on my phone. That's something I like, especially when I'm out and about, and especially when I was like doing inspections. Like Tuesdays were my routine inspection days. So I liked to be able to keep an eye on my emails when I was out doing routine inspections, because I was out for a lot of the day. So that was really important to me. So it is useful to have emails on my phone. But I realized that I was checking my emails every morning before getting out of bed. And that is a terrible way to start the day. It really increased my stress levels. So at the end of each day, I turned my emails on my phone in the settings section off, so that even if I went into the email app, I couldn't see new emails. And this forced me to stop checking my emails at night and on the weekends. Now, I know I could turn it back on if I wanted to, but it just prevented new emails from coming in. And then the next morning, once I sat back down at my desk, I would turn my emails back on my phone. And this really helped me be more present when I was with my family, my friends, and just generally after hours. So if you are someone who has emails on your phone and you also experience stress from having those notifications coming in, or knowing that they are just sitting there waiting for you, then you might want to experiment with this as well. So it might be in turning it off in settings, it might mean disabling it in the app itself, or it might be deleting that app from your phone at the end of the day. Just whatever works for you. Let's keep going. So the third thing I did to help beat burnout was I deleted my social media apps. One of the greatest things I ever did was delete Facebook from my phone, as much as I love Facebook. Now, I realize that I teach here at Rent Roll Starter using social media to grow your rent roll. So this might seem counterintuitive, right? But not at all. I am a huge fan of social media. I really, really like it. I think it's an awesome tool for growing your business, your brand, your rent roll. In fact, if you want to learn more about using social media, for growing your rent roll, you can join me on my masterclass, 5 Ways to Grow Your Rent Roll. And we talk about social media, both the free and the paid side of social media in that masterclass. I'll make sure that I link to that class wherever you're watching or listening to this video. But social media is a marketing tool. It's a tool you should use in your business, but sometimes it ends up using you. So I do still have the Facebook Business Suite on my phone. That's really handy in my mind for scheduling posts if I see opportunities, but you can't see the whole Facebook feed from the Business Suite app. So you won't get sucked into the Facebook rabbit hole. And remember, turn notifications off for this app as well. So you can still have it on your phone if that works for you, but maybe don't let it interrupt you with notifications. So I just want to remind you that I'm a huge fan of social media. Like, I'm recording this video live on social media. I think it's the most amazing tool, and it's given us the ability to connect with so many people, like en masse, and have such an impact and create change and give us free marketing abilities and allow us to connect with people that we might never have been able to connect with. So I think it's amazing, but the trick is you use it, don't let it use you. Let's keep going in this blog. The fourth thing I did was I stopped answering my phone. Not completely, but mostly. So when I first started my rent roll, I was the only person in my business, and you might have experienced this as well. So of course, I was the person who answered the phone every single call. Now, if you have started a rent roll from scratch, you know what this is like. You have to answer every single call. So this meant that I was constantly being interrupted. So I outsourced my phone answering. I got a local phone number and a virtual receptionist who answered the phone for me. And the receptionist then either transferred the call to my mobile if I was available, or would take a message if I wasn't. And then I took it a step further. I stopped giving out my mobile number to people. I used my local number on all of my advertising, and then anytime I left a message for someone to return my call, I would give them the local phone number. And this reduced my interruptions through the day so much. And it reduced my stress levels so much because it allowed me to focus longer on my property management tasks, and I would finish my work faster. And then the cool thing with this is it actually allowed me to focus for a period of time, and that might just be 20 minutes where I just turn my phone on silent, allow the receptionist to take the calls, and then I would return the calls later on. So it just gave me this focus for a period of time. You can't do it all day. If you're in property management, you can't like go on block out all day, every day. But if you can make yourself unavailable for a little bit of time, just to focus on something important, especially, if you've got a tribunal hearing coming up or something, and you just need that bit of focus time for a little bit of time, that can be an amazing opportunity for you just to get some focus for a little bit of time. All right, we're on the home stretch. I'm going to share the fifth thing I did. And this is the thing that I probably struggled the most with, if I'm honest. So number 5 is I started exercising. One of the things that helped me recover from burnout was exercise, gentle exercise. Not hardcore, sweating it out, lifting heavy weights, huffing and puffing, gentle walking. Each morning I went for a leisurely walk in nature. And this was probably the hardest thing for me to do. But I think it was the most important. By nature, I am not a morning person. I am a night owl. So I struggled to get out of bed in the mornings, especially when I was burnt out. And I really struggled to justify spending 20 to 30 minutes walking when I could just start work earlier. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, where you're just like, oh, I could go for a walk, but I could just start work earlier instead. But what I discovered was this: if I invested just 20 to 30 minutes to take a walk in nature, I just seemed to be more efficient throughout the rest of my workday. I don't know how it works, but it really did make me more focused and efficient at work. I have actually heard that there is a disproportionate impact of, if you make a 20-minute investment in exercise, it pays off in terms of productivity later on. There's like a formula that I have heard about this, and I can't remember exactly what the formula is, but I just remember that the formula was just outstanding in terms of how much an investment in exercise pays off in productivity. So I don't really know how it works, but I do know that even though this was the hardest thing for me to do, it was probably the thing that had the greatest impact. So I want to be very honest about my struggle with burnout here. I think it's something that I'm always going to have to be careful about. I notice that when life and business gets busy, I tend to fall off the wagon with all of the 5 things that I've just mentioned, especially the exercise. But each time I start to get stress, and especially when I see what I consider to be the warning signs of burnout, I come back to these 5 things. They always work to bring me back into balance. So I hope that just one of these 5 things might help you if you ever get close to burnout yourself. Now, I want to ask you, if you're watching this live or watching the replay or listening to the podcast, wherever you are hearing this video, if there's something that has worked for you, if you are in property management, if you have either experienced burnout or come really close to burnout, if there's something that worked for you, then leave it in a comment below. Let us all know what has worked for you in helping to manage your stress levels and your burnout, because burnout's a real thing in property management, and I'm talking about it and I'm still a little bit awkward about it. I still feel uncomfortable about it, but the more I talk about it, the more I discover that I'm not alone. There are a lot of people who experienced it, and there will probably be a lot who experience it in the future. So if you've got a little tip on something that has worked for you, whether it's one of the 5 things I mentioned in today's episode, or if it's something else that maybe I hadn't thought of, share it with us in a comment right here where you're watching or listening to this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that wherever you are in your property management journey, whether you have never experienced burnout, or you're in a moment of burnout at the moment, or whether you're on the recovery side of burnout, I hope that just one of these 5 strategies might help you. Thanks so much for joining me. I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Bye.